Hello, my name is Frank Hanaway, and welcome to Big Journey, Small Steps, the channel where I talk about my journey on the spiritual path and the small steps I make to get to my goal. Today is a tough topic. Today is my mother's 84th birthday. In the past 3 years, just about everything of value to her has been taken away from her. My father, her husband, died 3 years ago, and 3 months later my brother, who had Down syndrome, passed away. This year she's had health problems in between, and this year she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and she can't drive anymore, which was very important to her. And today we celebrated her birthday anyway. I've been living with my mother since my brother passed away. I moved into the house I grew up in, and I've gradually taken over more and more of the responsibility till now I'm seeing about everything. And I tried to do it as gradually as possible to let my mother have as much dignity as possible. She comes from a family of very strong women, and she was one herself and still is in many ways. So here's what my challenge has been, and I'm just realizing it as I was preparing to make this video. Some things became clear to me. We have these deeply seated patterns of thinking. In Buddhism, they're called asavas, and in Hinduism, they're called samskaras. But they're patterns of thinking that are so embedded in us that we don't even recognize them. And so when about 6 years ago, my mother started to change, I was really aggravated with her. None of the things that she used to say or think, all of that sort of washed away. Her past was all rose-colored. Nothing had ever gone wrong in our lives. Other people had terrible lives, but nothing had ever touched us. It was interesting to see, and her memory began to slip, and as it did, she sort of recreated the past. Well, what I've recently discovered is that when you have a deep relationship with someone like your mother, and we've always been very, very close, you set up this system of unspoken rules, things that you don't say, lines you don't cross. And over the past 6 years, my mother has forgotten all those rules. And it's been really challenging, and I've been trying very hard to put my finger on what it is, because I love her dearly, and I retired to take care of her, and I'm happy I did that. And it's a privilege to get to be the person who sees about her when it's needed. But there were still lots of things that were little needles, and every day there's something that comes up that it's hard for me to deal with. It's hard for us to talk anymore, because when someone's memory is challenged, you can't say, oh, you remember that time we went, because 90% of the time they don't remember. And that's not a good position to put her in. So we try to build on the present all the time. So even though I'm taking good care of her, I just get aggravated sometimes. And I've been wondering what I could do to step away from that. And it occurred to me that the virtue that I need to be cultivating more and more of is patience. I did a video last week on road rage, I called it, but it's about how I feel when I'm driving. And I realized the same thing is true there. Now, it's funny because I was a teacher for in the public school system for the last 14 years. And one of the things that people always said to me was, "You're so patient." Well, I was patient with children. So all that tells me is I can do it. That if I put my mind to it, I knew it was ineffective with children to be impatient. So I'm learning to restructure my thinking so that my goal becomes increased patience and forbearance and just the ability to accept my mother as she is today and not wish that she were like she was 20 years ago or 30 years ago. I'll tell you a very funny story. So I asked her what her birthday wish was. What did she want for Christmas? And today she was 84. She said, "I want to be 80 again." I said, I never thought I'd hear anybody say that was their birthday wish, was to be 80. And she said, "Well, everybody was alive then." And I said, "Yeah, but they died that year." So, and we both laughed about it. We're fortunately able to talk to each other. And I have not had the problem of her being aggressive or distrustful, or any of that has not happened yet. And like I say, I think we've been in this for quite a number of years and just gotten the diagnosis. So anyway, I'm working on patience. And if you have comments about how you learn to be more patient, how you practice patience, something that you do, how you step out of your comfort zone to be a more patient person, I would love to hear it. I just started reading a little book on patience by my spiritual teacher, Ishwaran, and I read it 5 years ago, but I'm reading it again. I really need it now. So I'll get back with you about that little book when I finish it. So thank you for spending your time with me today. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up is appreciated. I'll put a link on Amazon to that little book down below in case you want to look at it. It's available on Kindle and as a book. So that's all I have for you today. And from the very bottom of my heart, I wish you peace and joy.